Hello, my name is Gary Stafford. This is an audio-video rendition of the Math 138 General Information. This is on the Getting Started menu item in our course page in MyMathLab. And like I said, some people prefer listening to it and have somebody read it to them as opposed to reading it themselves. So if you would prefer to read it yourself, of course, it's on that page and you don't really need to watch this video here. But for those who do like to listen to somebody read it to them, I actually am one of those kind of people. And so if you would prefer that, then keep listening here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over to the actual page that I'll be reading from. And again, it's on that page. And so you won't see me for a little bit, but you'll still be able to hear me, okay? Alrighty, so let's get this page lined up real good. Alrighty, so this is the online pre-calculus general information. This is kind of an overview of the course. That's the first thing we'll be looking at. We will roughly cover one chapter per week with the exception of the first week, where we also include the foundations chapter, which covers a few review topics and some possible new topics that will lay the groundwork for some of the core topics we discuss as the semester progresses. For that reason, the first week will seem overwhelming as a result, but rest assured, it will not stay at that pace all summer. So the first week, what I'm saying is we'll have quite a bit of information, but it's mostly review. A lot of it's review, and if it seems overwhelming, just kind of hang on tight. It does slow down because we roughly cover one chapter per week, maybe with the exception of that first week. So week 1, we'll be covering the foundations chapter. And let me just go ahead and pull that up here real quick. So if you look at that, it says Math 138 summer lecture schedule. Week 1, we cover F1 to F4 actually, and that's called the foundation. That's what the letter F stands for. And then chapters 1, sections 1 through 5. And I provide the topics here. And then week 2, we'll do chapter 2, which is mostly about quadratic functions and inequalities. Week 3, we'll have our it's our third week, and we'll be covering our first test, and that's over chapters 1 and 2. So the first test is covered that week, and it does the foundations and then chapters 1 and 2. And then that also in that third week we'll be doing chapter 3. So more information will be coming about that first test as we get a little closer. I try to schedule that first proctored exam in midweek at that point. So that way we can kind of get started, but it won't be at the very beginning. It will be in the middle so you can kind of get adjusted for that week. I don't like starting off a week with a test. All right. And then week 4, we'll be doing 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, all the way to 4.6. So like I said, week 4, we'll be doing the fourth chapter. Okay, let me pull up another sheet. All right, this is a continuation. Week 5, we'll be taking our second proctored exam. We also, again, that will be midweek, and it will cover, our second proctored exam will cover chapters 3 and 4. Also that week we'll be doing chapter 5. But again, like I said, second test, proctored exam covers chapter 3 and 4. It'll be about midweek. We also do 5.1 to 5.8. And this is mainly when the trig begins of the course. It's an introduction of angles, and we start introducing the trig functions, the graphs of them, and things as such. And in the 6th week, we'll do a continuation of the trig functions, which is the 6th chapter, and it's 6.1 to 6.6. And we learn all kinds of new formulas that involve trig functions. We call those identities, actually. And then week 7, we'll take our third proctored exam, and it will cover only on chapters 5 and 6. And again, that will be about midweek. Now, if you notice, the workload gets a little less because that week we're getting toward the end, and so I have to slow down a little bit because we're getting ready for the final exam, and there's a lot of work at the end, just the accumulation of things. But we'll be covering Chapter 7, which is mostly the law of sines and the law of cosines and a couple of formulas to find the area of a triangle. And this was kind of be a week that's kind of relief week because it's just a few formulas to understand, and the workload gets a little less at this point. Kind of gets better as it goes on, in other words. And then the 8th week is really nice because we only cover a couple of sections, 8.4 and 8.5. That's all. So, and that's vectors and the dot product. And then toward the end of that week, not midweek, but toward the end of that week, we'll be taking our final exam, and that will be proctored. Now, all these exams, proctored exams, we discuss in the policy statement as well. But I'll give you another heads up here. The proctored exams may be taken at Missouri State, but they also can be taken at a university in your area, some learning centers, some libraries if I can approve them. They just have to have an approved proctoring center. I don't usually let you use high schools because you have relationships with teachers there, and so it would have to be an approved university or approved proctoring center of some sort, like a library or a community college, and most times we have no problems dealing with that. So, all right. Now, let's read on. Now, it says, this is kind of an FAQ, frequently asked questions kind of a thing here I like to talk about here. And it says, what is the course workload? Well, as you could tell with the schedule, we do quite a bit of things, especially during the beginning and toward the middle. Toward the end, it gets a little less. But let me read this to you. It says, the course is a 5-hour course. So as in traditional courses, you can expect to spend more time on this course compared to a 3-hour course. The time spent for an individual will depend on your mathematical background and how well you can pick up instruction delivered in an online manner. Generally speaking, be prepared to spend at least 18 to 22 hours per week on this class. So it spends a lot of your time. Summer classes are more compact since it's covered over 8 weeks. This will also drive up the number of hours required from you. Now understand, if you're in a traditional pre-calc class, I'm saying 18 to 22 hours per week. Now, that's overall. Now, if you're in a traditional summer class, you're in a class over 2 hours for 4 days a week. So you're in there like 8 to 9 hours a week just in class if it's a traditional class. So if you double that, which is the time you should be doing your homework, that's where I'm getting the 18 to 22 hours. So that includes studying, learning the material, and things like that. So, and I'm not saying 22 hours you can cap it off. I'm saying some people may take 25 to 30 hours. But if you're an average student, this is about what you should be at. So, excuse me. All right. Let's read on. Are there benefits of taking an online class? Excuse me. There are advantages of an online math class. Instruction is given through instructor and textbook author videos. So, in textbook reading in conjunction with author pre-made lecture videos, student fill in the blank with miscellaneous examples. These advantages would allow students to view videos multiple times to increase understanding, while in traditional classes the repeating of a lecture content is limited. Now let me explain what that means. If you're in a traditional course and you don't catch something that the instructor tells you, then either you ask him again, you raise your hand, you ask, or you have to talk to him after class most of the time. If you don't catch something on my video, there's a rewind. You just rewind it and listen to it again. Now there is limitations there, though. I mean, you can't ask questions that's, maybe that was connected to it, and so that's the disadvantage. But the advantages of the videos can be watched over and over again. And it's not just my videos that I've created. The author has created videos that you can assess. So, and you will also be able, you'll have to read the stuff, read the sections, which also has animations. So there's a lot of advantages to this course since it's online. You just have to take advantage of them, that's all. All right. What will be the day-to-day schedule look like? Now, as we looked at the schedule, we saw 4 tests, 3 proctored exams and the final proctored exam. But that's not the day-to-day schedule. The day-to-day thing that we'll be doing is doing homework and doing quizzes. And let me talk about that here. Day-to-day concerns will consist mostly of homework and quizzes. Each section will require homework through MyMathLab. And at most 10 problems. So I'll give you about 10 problems on each homework assignment. And a paper and pencil quiz, which is at most 5 problems. So every section you'll have around 15 problems to do. Now that's pretty reasonable. A lot of times you'll have homework in a class that maybe has 15 to 25 to 30 problems. So sometimes it's quite a bit more than that. I limit that a little bit because a lot of this instruction you have to do on your own and you're reading stuff. So I limit that amount of work for that. Due dates for the homework will be posted through MyMathLab, but essentially will be the Monday following the following week. So all your homework for a given week, for example, week 2, your homework will be on the Monday of week 3. So that's what I say here. So for example, all homework from week 1 will be due on the Monday of the second week, which is at 11:59. This is all on MyMathLab, so on the homework. The key is not to wait until the last minute. If a student is waiting until the weekend to complete homework, and you may do that, but you will pay the price. He or she is gambling that there are no difficulties, and most everyone will, go to the next page, and most everyone will have difficulties at some point in this class. I would suggest to complete 3 sections over each 2-day period the first couple of weeks, and then 1 section per day after the second week. So once we start slowing down, and remember the first week is quite a bit of material, but the first week you need to try to get that 3 sections done over every 2 days. But then the amount of material reduces, and then at that point 1 section per day after that on the average. Alrighty? So paper and pencil quizzes will be downloaded through instructional tabs, which is paper and pencil quiz, and also through the document sharing within the course sites. So the paper and pencil quizzes you'll see if you'll find in 2 different places. The number of quizzes for each week will equal the number of sections for the chapter for a given week. The paper and pencil quizzes will be completed by hand, by the student. The completed quizzes will be scanned under one document. So all your quizzes need to be, when you send it back to me, if it's through email, it needs to be sent to me as under one document. You put them all in a Word file and then save it as a PDF is the best way to go. And sent to me on the Tuesday of the following week. So it's a day after your homework is due. The quizzes from the previous week is also due. Let's see. Each student should keep a copy of each quiz completed in case quizzes are lost in the process of delivery to me. Now you can also send these quizzes in other ways like faxing, or you can even just hand deliver them into the mailbox. A lot of people in this course is off campus, and so if they're off campus, they're out of the city and out of the state. So your choices, if you're in that situation, is either scan it, send it to me, or faxing it. If you don't have access to a fax machine, or if you do and it costs you money, I would strongly suggest to send them through me through the scanning process. So, alrighty. More information regarding the turn-in procedure will be through emails as the course begins. Students sometimes feel overwhelmed by the number of assignments, but I'm trying to streamline the quantity of problems for each of those assignments, which basically means I'm trying to reduce the number of problems, even though there may be a lot of assignments. Each section do not have a whole lot of problems that you have to do. So the workload is actually a little bit less than a traditional course, but only slightly. And let's see, it says more assignments, including quizzes with less problems on each of those assignments will somewhat balance out from what you would see in a traditional class. All right, it's going down a little bit. All right, so this is kind of how it works. You're going to read a textbook for a given section while filling in some lecture notes that will be provided to you. It's, again, that's on the instructional menu items. And the next step is to review instructor-led videos for the given section. And then you review the author-led videos from a provided list as needed. That's optional. At the beginning, I would strongly suggest to watch those too, because a lot of times his way and my way in conjunction together kind of eliminates all questions. If you just listen to mine, there might be a few questions, because there's some things I'm going to inevitably might have to leave out, and he will do the same. So between both of us, we kind of fill in the gaps. So I would strongly suggest to listen to both of us, especially at the beginning. And if that's working for you, stick with it. If you think you can get by without it, his videos, then you might try it. But just remember, both of them together is best. So, but I'm going to say his is optional. Mine is going to be required. You complete the homework from MyMathLab, approximately 10 problems. Like I said, 10 problems from each section. You complete a quiz for the given section, and more information is coming to that later. And then you kind of repeat these steps 1 to 5 until all sections are complete for each weekly module. So what you do is you follow those 5 steps for Foundation Section 1, and then you get finished with all that process, including the homework and the quiz. Then once that's all complete, you go to the next Foundations Chapter and repeat these 5 steps. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go to the next section, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go to the next section, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on until the whole module for that week is complete. Alrighty, so let's read on. Alright, it says your questions will be answered via email. This is what if I still have questions after reviewing the content supply. That's what the question is asking here. Well, your questions will be answered via email, or if you prefer to learn ClassLive through MyMathLab, which is a pretty cool software thing that MyMathLab has, and it's synchronous learning, which basically means we go on there at the same time. And they won't allow me to require this. I used to, but I don't anymore. But it's a pretty nifty little thing that we can actually talk and communicate at the same time and look and do a problem at the same time. And we can have virtual office hours without leaving the comforts of home. It does require a little effort, though, of getting your browser up to speed to run ClassLive. So a lot of times you'll have to update your Java and do a browser check and making sure your Flash is running correctly and it's updated as well. And so if you get all that stuff going, then ClassLive will run, but that sometimes becomes cumbersome for some students. So, but it is a great resource if you choose to use it. However, a lot of students prefer to give me a question via email by asking a type of homework problem. Each question in your homework has a textbook or problem association. So when you do a homework problem on your MyMathLab, if you look at the very top of the problem, it'll say like 1.3.15 or 16. So if it says 1.3.16, that means it's Chapter 1, Section 3, problem number 16 is a problem that's in the book that would be associated with the problem that's being assigned there. So that's how it's connected. So when you do that and say, I'm having a problem with a problem like 1.3.16, I look at that problem in the textbook and then I respond to you. Alrighty, so for example, a problem with this number association 1.3, 1.6 would refer to a problem 16 in section 1.3. This number association is above every homework problem. All you have to do is tell me the number. This is how I will handle it when you ask me this question. I will handwrite a solution and any other pointers to a problem like yours and scan it and send it back to you. Or I will create a student request video, and there is a menu item in the instructional tabs that has a student response videos. And I will do a video for that problem. In that particular problem, it's a short, very video, about 3 to 4 minutes, probably at the most. And I will upload it and I will send it to that appropriate page there. And then you do it. Then you'll see it, and then everybody else can see it as well. But either way, I'll put things there so people can see what you're asking, what other students are asking. I don't put your name on it, but I put the problem there and so for all to see. So when you ask me the question, then it's helping everybody else in the class as well, and actually future students as well, because this stays with us until forever. And so, so you're not only helping yourself, you're helping your peers. All right? Now, so if you ask me this, you have to wait around 24 to 36 hours before you can get a response, because I can't act on it right away. So you got to be a little bit of you got to be a little patient here. So it's another thing. If you're waiting till the weekend to do your work, don't expect any response until after the paper is due. So if you're going to ask me a question, if you're going to say, I want a video help, I want some help here, then you're going to have to be very proactive and do your homework prior to the weekend, because at that point I can't really help you, because it's getting a little too late and I can't respond to you quickly enough. So be best if you can ask these questions by Wednesday or Thursday of that week. So yeah, that does mean you have to be very proactive to get these requests in. All right, so let's move on. All right, so we're almost done here. All right, and so for more detailed information of this course, please review the syllabus under the Syllabus Policy Statement tab and other supporting materials under the course documents. And I hope we all have a productive and successful summer, and I really mean that. And so if you guys have any questions on this, if you need more information, if I wasn't clear enough in this rendition of this information sheet here, slip me an email and I'll be glad to answer it. Hope everybody has a good day. Thank you.